Coming up in day 2 of the Jacob Heil trial, Marco Shimwell's father takes the stand.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. It was day 2 of the Jacob Heil trial today in Lexington. The now 21-year-old faces a reckless homicide charge for the 2018 death of 4-year-old Marco Shimwell. Heil is accused of driving under the influence and hitting Marco as he left with his father after a UK football game. We heard testimony from Marco's dad and from the man who was in Heil's car at the time of the crash. Chad Hedrick has more on today's testimony.
Emotional testimony from Ben Shimwell Tuesday as he recalled the day his 4-year-old son Marco was hit by a car and later died.
It was very chaotic. I mean, I was beside myself. I was the most helpless I've ever been. I didn't really know what to do.
Jacob Heil is on trial for allegedly getting behind the wheel while under the influence and hitting Marco as he and his family walked along Cooper Drive.
We had a silver sedan coming at us that was, to me, about halfway off the street coming at us, and clearly was not making an attempt to stay on the street, and so we had very little amount of time to get out of the way.
Chase Dawson says he was in the car with Jacob Heil. He told the court he did not see the crash, just heard it because he was in the back seat on his phone.
Did you know that Mr. Heil had struck something?
Something, yes.
But did you know what it was?
No.
But what Dawson said in court does not match what he said at the scene on September 15th, 2018. Police body camera video shows Dawson describing what happened.
Do you remember telling Officer Marlin when he interviewed you that day, you remembered, or that you saw the kid, the dad, and the little kid start to go out, and that the kid just got hit? Do you remember saying that?
No, I did not. I remember, what I remember is I thought he asked me what happened, and I was telling him what happened and not what I saw. I think that's where I was confused.
Do you remember that you didn't know how far out the road he was, but you saw his dad trying to pull him back?
I don't remember.
In Lexington, Chad Hedrick, WKYT.
Tomorrow, the jury will be taken to the scene of the crash. Closing arguments are expected on Thursday.
After a gloomy start to Tuesday, it ended up actually being a pretty nice evening out there. It was rather on the milder side, and we even had a pretty nice sunset to boot. From our I-64 camera at Moorhead, you see how the day finished with some of those fair weather clouds beginning to diminish as the sun set. And we had a pretty photogenic sunset in some spots. It's quiet right now at London Corbin Airport, where they sit at 65. It is in the mid-60s still in some spots. Prestonsburg, our warmest spot right now at 67. It's 66 in Jackson, 65 London at this hour. But we go down into Harlan, and we're not far from the upper 50s. In fact, that's where we are exactly in Wise right now. This is just some low-level moisture on pinpoint Doppler, just ground clutter. Nothing doing in terms of any kind of rainfall. There's our boundary that we've been watching. High pressure really on either side, and it's kind of stalled out as it washes out across the mountains. So we'll continue to see a dry nighttime for us. Notice out to the west, yeah, they are dealing with quite a bit of severe weather across the plains. None of that in our future, but we do have another quiet night in store before even more warm temperatures later this week, and I'll have those details coming up in just a bit. Steve?
I see that blue on there too, out in Colorado. I don't want that. Thank you very much, Evan. Authorities are investigating after the body of a man was found in a creek in Buchanan County, Virginia this morning. Buchanan County Sheriff's deputies responded to a creek off Deskins Road at the intersection of Raiders Road, where the body was face down in the water. The body has been identified, but the name will not be released until his next of kin is notified. An autopsy will also be performed. In Tennessee, 2 postal workers are dead after being shot at a Memphis post office. Memphis police responded just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. The FBI says the shooter, who was also a postal employee, died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The victims' identities have not been released. No other details were given. Postal officials are working with the FBI in the investigation. The Postal Service will be providing resources to all employees at the East Lamar Carrier Annex in the coming days. To better understand the community and local community colleges, the Kentucky Community and Technical College System president visited HCTC this afternoon. He says he is hearing many concerns about worker shortages, especially in nursing, and says he's looking at workforce education and training, but what may work at one college may not work at another.
I think, we rely on best practices, but we have different programs at each college because we've got different communities. And so we have to embrace that difference, but also make sure that we're doing things that make sense.
The president has 9 stops left on his tour, adding he is hearing many of the same concerns at each stop. The Shaping Our Appalachia Region, or SOAR Summit, kicks off tomorrow in Corbin. This is the first time the event has not been held in Pikeville, and organizers expect a big crowd, maybe a record. Topics covered tomorrow include the role of post-secondary education in preparing our future workforce, the nursing shortage, downtown revitalization, and remote work. We will have extensive coverage tomorrow and Thursday. The COVID positivity rate in the Commonwealth continues to slowly decline, but case numbers and deaths were up to some today. Governor Beshear announced 2,358 new cases of COVID, increasing the statewide total to 717,245. There were 34 new deaths, bringing the death toll to 9,184. Positivity rate is a little more than 8%. You can always find the latest COVID-19 information on our website at WYMT.com. Flu and RSV season are in full swing as hospitals have seen a spike in cases earlier in the year than usual. In 2020, numbers were low, and local healthcare workers say the amount of RSV patients they treated was almost zero. But now, as we see less social distancing and mask wearing, and not only are cases returning full force, but possibly they'll be hitting stronger.
I am not going to be surprised if our numbers do potentially exceed levels, say, in the winter of 2019.
Christy Green says it's very possible that people who have not been out in the community with the usual amount of exposure could experience more severe illness when they do face exposure. She recommends washing hands, masking up indoors, and getting vaccinated. An old state-based healthcare market is ready to reopen. Connect was established in 2014 as a one-stop shop for Kentuckians in need of health insurance. Governor Bevin's administration removed the program, opting for a different approach, but Governor Beshear has brought it back. It is meant to let Kentuckians compare and look at plans in one convenient location.
Who files their taxes the first day? Who wants to sit around and spend an hour or so trying to figure out your health insurance? No one, like 0 people. So this cuts the time in half on average for application times.
The refurbished program will be available to look at on October 15th, and you can begin purchasing plans November 1st. A new Eastern Kentucky festival got underway in Harlan tonight. WYMT's Corey Sanning reports on what organizers hope will become a new yearly tradition.
A new tradition with roots in faith.
We've been hoping that we could get this going for the last several months, and finally, well, it's here, so we're looking forward to it.
The first annual Believers Music Fest kicking off at the Harlan Center Tuesday, as 25 gospel artists make their way to Southeast Kentucky to spread their message.
We are extremely excited. Looking forward to seeing all of the artists come across the stage and bring the excitement in the room, hoping that all of Harlan will come out and support it and have a great event.
Some traveling from as far as Nashville for this first-time event.
We go where God leads, and we go spread our talent, let people know it's fun to be a Christian. You can smile and have fun, but we're up here all this week. We do a lot of concerts and events, and we do a lot of showcases.
And being introduced to Eastern Kentucky culture in the process.
People are friendly. I love coming up here to mountains. I love the mountains. Tennessee's got mountains, but y'all got more curvy roads. But up here is beautiful country, and I call it God's country.
All with one goal in mind.
Sharing the gospel with Harlan County and making it, bringing artists in that can actually provide them with not only good entertainment, but as well as the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Spreading faith in goodwill. In Harlan, Corey Sanning, WYMT, Mountain News.
Goshen says music will begin at 10 each morning until the festival wraps up Friday. A former youth boxing gym in Pikeville has been seeing new life during the last 5 years, and now big things are in store for its future. The Battle Line Boxing Gym is a fresh take on Mayfield's gym, a space opened by Kentucky boxer Mayfield Pennington in 1999, which served the kids of Pikeville for more than a decade before his death in 2013. New Beginnings Fellowship Church reopened the space to keep its original mission alive, providing a gym and more for area kids.
Smallest thing is like spend 3 minutes on the speed bag. Like keep working on it until you get it. It's like life principles, right? That they just come out of here with better character and better prepared for life. And maybe boxing.
Pastor Jared Arnett hopes to see the space grow in the years to come to honor the life of a man who wanted to show kids their future is worth fighting for. Last month, one young Whitley County family opened the doors to their new home. It was built by Mountain Outreach, a service-based ministry at the University of the Cumberlands. The Hall family won their annual home build. Mountain Outreach Director Rocky Brown says more than 10 applications were put in this year, and homeowners Tyler and Amber Hall are grateful to be selected.
It's a lot bigger than our house that we had, so it's been adjusting, and then it's just so beautiful. You know, it just had to do a lot of praying to feel comfortable in such a beautiful house.
Mountain Outreach began in 1982. Powell County native Haley B. Wheeler was crowned Miss Kentucky 2021 earlier this year, becoming one of the few Eastern Kentuckians to wear the coveted crown. Wheeler competed for the title of Miss Kentucky 6 times. She says she's thankful for her long journey to the crown, and now that she's accomplished one of her lifelong dreams, she's even more grateful to be a role model for the boys and girls of Eastern Kentucky.
Don't just do something that, you feel like you're expected to do because you're from here. Chase whatever goal it is that you have. I don't care how lofty it is. And that's what I get to do as Miss Kentucky every day, is tell people to do that. So, gosh, it's just such an awesome opportunity to feel like I can be a role model for people that I care about,
Haley will go on to represent Eastern Kentucky on the Miss America stage in December. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, we'll give you an inside look at how college athletes negotiate sponsorships under new NIL guidelines.
And warm and sunny conditions continue before more changes work into the forecast later this week. I'll have the very latest coming up.
Make your day sweet and easy